Everybody, welcome back to Karandrin Role Playing. My name is Kevin Manus Pennings, also known as Cracked Palantir, and welcome to this episode 81 of Brise's Tale. And as always, my good buddy Max is here to play the Paladin Brise. Max, say hello to the lovely people.
Welcome, everyone. Hope you had a good Valentine's Day, and if not, hope we can make it better.
That's right. That's nicely said. Nicely said. And I didn't mention this to you, Max, but so I was a little worried about last episode because I just thought it dragged a little bit. We didn't get to a lot of like meat. And so I told my wife, I was like, hey, yeah, I'm just kind of worried the last one was a little boring. Wasn't my favorite one. And so she told me today, she's like, she said, yeah, I watched the last one, and you're right, it was boring. Just straight up, no consideration for my feelings. Um,
Wonder where she got that from.
I know. So I've beaten all love and good nature out of her, and now um, she's a shattered woman. So, but everybody, welcome. Last episode we didn't get to a lot of interesting stuff, but we did have some interesting information passed on to us, and we have a couple of irons in the fire. One is regarding Max's cult, or I should say, Brise's cult of the Nine Stars, in which, and again, to remind any new viewers, cult here we simply mean a minor prosecuted religion. There's nothing inherently evil about a cult. We're trying to use it in a much more anthropological way than a fantasy way. So they're not evil or anything. Um, and thanks, Obi-Wan. Appreciate that. So Brise, I should say, she has found, through the sort of rogue wizard Oshekra, she has found an enormous treasure trove of information because he has explored a lot of failed, abandoned sites of the Nine Stars. Now, this cult believes largely in the pantheon of gods that exists in this region of the world, an area called the Four Lands. And they believe that through a proper ritual, they can unleash the natural magical abilities of everyone that organized religion has heretofore suppressed. That is their belief. Oshekra, this rogue wizard, he encountered information about the cult of the Nine Stars about 25 years ago and went on a crazy exploration of it, taking detailed notes. And his conclusion is no, that's not what they were doing at all. They didn't believe in anything about suppression. They were trying to give people magical abilities, the inherent ability to control magic and cast spells. And he came across a number of sites before he just sort of tired of exploring it. But he spent a handful of years developing contacts and exploring these sites and uncovering a number of them before he just tired of it. So that's one. The other deals with a cult that actually seems to be somewhat of a troublemaking variety, and that is an ancient
They give
pantheon.
cult a bad name.
That's right. They give cults a bad name, but so this cult is the cult of the Iron Empress. She is an ancient. She's from an ancient pantheon, and she's depicted as a human woman. She holds daggers. There are often snakes on her feet or crawling about her. And this was a mannish faith that existed at least 5,000 years ago. We don't know exactly when it declined in this region. But she, we know, is the goddess of death. And we know that there's a cult here in the small goblin town of Balabry, where Brise is at this moment stationed. And so those are two irons in the fire. I'm sure I'm missing one. Those are two big ones.
Yeah, the two big ones.
So
There's all sorts of small things going around the vetch, right? But that's a little slower moving. So
yes, there is a very rugged, undeveloped region to the west, very hilly, called the Vetch by the dwarves, and We know that there is sort of an undead race there, sort of a lean version of a halfling that was wiped out thousands of years ago, and they rose from the dead at some point in anger and control some small part of the vetch, but they seem to be scheming at this point, and that is of some concern. But again, as Max said, it's somewhat slow moving. So there's your little 5 minute recap. Thanks for hanging through that. And now we're just trying to get Brise to a neighboring town so he can grab a few items that he has lost in his past adventures. He's trying to replace a few things that are very dear to him, and so Max is going to travel to the neighboring town of Dorgal and try to do some very quick shopping, and then we're going to get on with the getting on, which includes a plan to try to ambush this cult of the Iron Empress and spoil plans of an evil gentleman's nature, and try to undo this cult. Um, Describe to us the present plan to undo the cult, Max, if you would.
Well, yeah. So we have currently in power. We have Anleb, the winemaker, who is from some sources we've heard is not the smartest, not the brightest. There's a real person behind the scenes, much more mysterious and hidden. That is kind of pulling the strings. And I can't remember their pseudonym at the moment. I know it's not the real name, probably, but. Then, besides that person, there is Brashla, the owner of several brothels in town, who's kind of wants to oust Anleb and anyone else who kind of opposes him and take control of the cult for himself. So we know that he's ordered several robes of the goddess Astalon to be made, which we deduced he's going to set up a raid of the
A fake raid.
fake raid of the house in the name of Astalon, right? And kind of basically kill anyone who opposes him there, and in the remnants pick up power from the rest of the members, right? Assert his authority over everyone else that's left. And so what Brise and a dwarf named I keep wanting to call him Hagrid. I don't know why I have such a hard time.
Gabrus.
Gabrus. What we are planning to do is dress up our own allies in the same or similar robes, and the date of the planned raid, we're going to intercept it and kind of do our own raid. Also fake in the name of Astalon, but in doing so, we'll stop a lot of lives from being taken, and hopefully get rid of the influence of the cult itself while it's still small.
Right. Your raid will at least have some restraint, and there's
Right.
no indication that your fake raid will have restraint just to rattle things, and there's no expectation that Brashlow will show such mercy.
Are Astalon's robes white?
Say again?
Are Astalon's robes white? Like, would that be they feature white in them? If so, you
White?
might call it a white lie.
Oh my gosh! You can lie till you're blue in the face. Um,
No, that would be Oxyr. His colors.
that's fine. So there you go. There's a fuller recap. So we're gonna do some quick travel, see if he has any encounters on the road, get him to Dongrel, and then get him back.
You know what keeps confusing me about Gabrus is that if you switch the B and the G, you get Baggins.
That's hilarious.
Baggins.
That's right. That name is no longer safe. You should go by the name Underhill. But that's weird. Oh, there it is. Okay, weird. My little private chat thing was hiding the thing. So off you go. You're walking. here's a fun little fantasy fact for any game masters out there: is that you'll see a lot of games will tell you that travel by horseback is faster. That's not. Horses have the same walking pace as humans because we bred them that way. Isn't that funny? All right. So you need to roll to navigate to get to the other side of town.
Right.
Unfortunately, this town of Ballabri, it has many creeks and so on, and it's laid out. We have learned in a deliberately confusing way to slow
Foreigners.
military advancement. Yeah, invasion. So
So
uh,
I will say I have walked a little bit of this road before, but we haven't even gotten to that point yet. So that's a one. First roll of the stream.
well, there you go. One, roll again and subtract it.
Expecting that. 99.
Roll
Woo!
again.
We are having a great time. Plus 78. Woo.
Negative 177. No, negative 176.
Yeah.
Um,
So you end up in another dimension.
yeah, I think that you would realize that you're lost, and I'm going to put you 2 hours behind. And you ask for directions, and they really shake their head at you. Maybe erase 5 bronze and just have someone walk you out.
That is fair. Just put a blindfold on me and lead.
Yeah, right. It doesn't. You don't need to know uh, where you're going. The learning doesn't stick. So it's late morning until you before you exit the town, which will put you there in early evening. Not ideal. It may mean that you have to bang on a door to get access to a shop. Be willing to pay some extra gold just to get access to the shop.
Uh,
Because otherwise they're sitting down for their evening meal and don't want to be bothered. All right, so let's talk about state of readiness. What do you want in your hands as you travel? Um,
well, I'm definitely gonna. We have a surcoat given to me by um, through from Miagal, from what's her name, Athene, who's our what is the title we gave handler, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
she's your handler, but she's the assistant castellan.
assistant Castellan, right, is my handler at the keep. So she's given me the surcoat that I can wear with Miagal's color and emblem on it. So I'll definitely have that, and but yeah, I'll have my spear and target shield in hand, and then of course bowl is at my belt, and I'll wear my a flail at my belt too. A
Sure.
little noisier, but I'd rather have more weapons on me.
Right. Easy to grab and everything.
Mhm.
Yeah. So,
My flail of fairness here.
and let's talk about Nalani, your beautiful young female falcon.
Nalani would be flying overhead, high in the sky, and can give a every now and then I can switch to her and see what's going on ahead of me on the road, any movement in the brush or things on the road.
So, very empty. You really see no one for the first couple of hours. You're just winding through hill and mountain. Um, just That's just what there is. As you know, this town is about a day away. I mean, you could hustle. You'll be beat, but you could hustle if you want to make up time. You could
Yeah,
jog at a stretch, and that depends on what
well,
you want
I
to do.
already feel not great today, so I'm like, I'm not gonna bother with trying to push myself too hard.
Okay.
Disadvantage for everyone. Yeah, remember I'm still under the influence of a necromantic curse, which has caused me to have a lot of aches and pains. Brise is not getting old. It's not what it is.
That's
Very
right.
But yeah, aches and pains, and the possibility that if I'm dead, I will. If I am killed, then I'll be resurrected as an undead by his
Yes, that's
binding curse.
um. So, roll for me.
4.
That's excellent. That's excellent. Roll again for me.
Sheesh. 32. Not so many
Well,
arrows hit me before I realize what's going on.
it's funny you should say. There's a um, there's a roar above you on a slope. A beast is upon you, large. Um, this is going to be one of these really ugly days, I'm afraid, because ambush predators are the worst. Um,
See,
um,
we talked about maybe playing this part out of stream, but it's like, but of course I'm gonna get ambushed and get knocked out and dragged to some creature's lair.
you look. You'll only be slightly eaten. I don't see that there's any.
Maybe they'll eat the curse and leave me alone.
That's right. He has a. That's the only reason he's attacking. Honestly, is
Curse
this
eater.
curses are delicious to his
Speaking of
people.
curses, we have some spam in the
Oh,
Twitch.
do we?
Get rid of that, or
Oh God.
maybe we should go to dogehype.com and get. I'm
Oh
pretty sure
no.
you've been asked to go to dogesomething.com before.
As far as prices,
I
what?
think they're
Okay, crazy. To add to block list. Boom. All right. So, what armor are you wearing? Remind me.
I am wearing. I have my. What's it called? I've got my chainmail coif and my
Coif.
plate helm.
Coif. Right. Coif. Right. Sorry.
Yeah, patching leather vest and my spiked leather breastplate.
Oh, good. He'll take some
Or,
damage.
yeah.
So, yeah. Well, not good. Not good. I mean, I assume this is just going to max out the chart. Yeah, it maxes out the chart. Surprise attacks are just awful. They're really bad. But the thing about Spikes is that why don't you roll for me? We'll see if he gets a little poke in the eye.
90.
Oh, that's a poke in the eye. So it's an enormous cat-like creature, very lion-like. Wow, he got a 6 on his critical. Wow, that is beautiful, especially since it was a D critical.
Oh man.
Criticals in this game run A to E, and an E critical is basically a 1 in 3 shot of dying. It's really, really bad. You rolled a 90. I'm going to give him 2 A/criticals um, for um, for his trouble. Wow. That is fascinating. Well, all right. So there is just a thunderous roar after the attack because he encountered your spikes. Jesus Christ, these attacks suck ass. He is rolling very well. So right now, you're only taking a lot of damage. So I wouldn't worry about it. So do you have greaves?
No, but it bracers.
Okay. Um, a slash down your back. You feel his jaws clamp on your leg and then release as he roars. He knocks you down. He tumbles to the ground. You tumble to the ground. You take 55 damage
Whoa.
and you are bleeding at 3 hits a round.
Oh my God.
But your jerkin of patching,
Right.
it does, what does it heal?
3 times a day, he'll think 1 to 3 hit point.
And boom, that seals immediately on your leg.
Woo! Goodness, that's like the most useful item I've like ever
That's
had.
really nice. It is really nice.
Okay. Okay.
So let's do a couple of things. Let's roll to hold on to your shield, and then roll to hold on to your spear.
That's a 60 for the shield and a 61 for the spear.
You have those, no problem. Um, your backpack and bags are scattered on the road.
That's fair enough.
Roll, um, roll for orientation.
26.
So you're out of it. You're just gathering your wits. You see this lion-like creature. His mane is entirely of thorns. These
Oh,
long thorns. His body seems like a very flexible, um, brownish gray wood. His tail is long. It is. It has more like rose thorns, like sharp little spiky thorns coming out of it, but it ends in a tuft of leaves.
mm.
He, you can see, has taken one of your spikes and has grazed all the way across his face and ripped off an ear.
Wow.
He is shaking his head and like biting, and like he is also very disoriented.
Very out of it.
Um,
Well, that's what he gets. Jesus. Ambush me on the road.
so, um, yeah, this is messed up. This is a interesting encounter. Um,
I'm wondering
so
about that hide if it's like made of wood. I wonder if spear is even going to be effective.
it seems awfully flexible, and you recall fighting the Strothras, and this reminds you of that,
Right.
right?
Right.
The sort of strange thorn-covered hide that was sort of, yes, it's animal, but yes, it's not.
Right. Right.
Um, so I lost my little paper clips I use. I do not care for that.
Little clip of paper.
Um, so you can do something very minor, like grab something out of your belt, but like you really have not processed everything that's happened. And so
Yeah,
let me do
I'm just gonna try to hold my shield up and get some distance between us so I can.
just yeah, you stagger back some. Um, I mean, this thing looks like it could outrun a horse. I mean, it's very powerfully built. Um, so um, next round, um, if you have your senses about you, what are you going to do?
I am going to. How much HP am I at? I think I'm still okay. So I'm going to try to go in for an attack um, at this guy. Try to go for you know charge him with the spear. Level.
All right, give me a split on attack defense.
Um,
You can't, for pole arms, you can't do more than half parry.
right. So we'll do 75 attack. Parry.
Okay. And your spear is, what's the stats on your spear?
Spear is a let's see here, plus 10.
Runed?
10, no, craft.
Craft, okay.
I do need a better spear here.
All right. All right. So, um, roll for orientation.
72. Booyah.
All right. You come to your senses. Um, he was beginning to approach. He sees you approach. He actually stops. He actually backs up some. Um, you've only got about 15 feet between you, 20 feet between you.
Okay.
Um, do you want to close? Like full on
Um,
charge him?
I mean, yeah, let's do a charge, more with the intent of scaring him off if he seems
Okay.
hesitant, right. So let's kind of shout, make himself a threat.
All
Yeah.
right. Roll to run at him, and then if he doesn't flee, you're going to attack, I
Yeah.
assume.
So
Okay.
65 for the run.
So no problem. You cover the distance. He bounds away. He's much faster than you. He bounds away, but stops and turns. Once you stop your charge,
Right.
um, and blood is just this sort of green blood is trickling from his just ripped off ear.
Mm.
Um, Next round. What would you like to do?
Okay. So he just bounded away and is still kind of like looking
Yeah,
at
yeah.
this. Might well then I'll go for a ranged attack here. I can try to just chuck my spear at him. Maybe that'll get him scare him off.
Okay.
Got all that spear throwing practice to use.
Yeah. All right. He, was closing the distance cautiously again. He's clearly still bothered by that ear. He keeps shaking his head. Um, Tongue keeps, trying to reach back and lick. Uh, Roll to throw.
7. Okay.
That was, it really lands. There's the chart ends at 42 at the bottom. Um, which is what you got actually. You got a 42, but that is still a miss. So it just lands. He bounds back a little bit curiously, and it falls. And then he starts closing the distance again.
Oh, man.
Um,
Well,
uh, so you are standing near your flail now that you've had reclosed that distance.
right.
Um, but you may have other things you want to do. Um,
Well,
Nothing like fighting a lion with a dagger. That's what I've heard.
yeah, I'm run.
I
I'm gonna
mean,
throw everything I got at him, and then I'll
yeah, that's the only way to really get him. I just take off that caption. It just looks weird sitting there right here.
a goblin noblewood. It's like
Yeah.
is Priest fighting Mirgral? What?
Right. Is Miracle a cat? Is that what goblins are in Kevin's game? Is that what's going on? I don't recall them being a cat, but maybe they're a cat.
Well,
Um,
when I get a chance to act, I want to do two things if possible. I want to pull my flail from my belt, but I also
your
want to.
flail's on the ground. Your
No,
flail.
I threw the spear at him.
I know that. You wouldn't have thrown a flail, I assure you,
Right,
because that's a
just put it
mess
on the ground.
from being knocked down.
Oh, off my belt. Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to reach down and grab my flail and have
Okay.
that in hand. And then I want to, if there's enough time, I want to do a channeling attack at this guy.
Okay.
So channel some magical energy,
How
divine
much?
energy. It's in increments of 4 power points, right?
Right.
Here's a question. I don't know if we ever answered or not, but can I use channeling from my PowerPoint store?
Yes, you can, but it all had the PowerPoints you use. You can't split sources.
Right. Okay, but it can come from
Yes.
the store. Okay, and also
Yeah.
does still exhaustion. So we'll try 12. See if
Okay.
we really hit
So
that hard.
roll for initiative.
84.
Okay. He continues to close cautiously, but he's still just not. That thing has really got him rattled. And you are going to blast away at him, huh?
Mm-hmm. Blasty, blasty.
All right, roll it up.
Here we go. 48. Okay.
He is very fast. He crouches underneath it, but it is very close to him. It's a very close shot. Um, a race 12 exhaustion.
Right. Yes.
Next round, what do you want to do?
So I have my flail in hand now, but he's still just closing the distance, huh? Hmm. Yeah, it seems like it's pretty hard to hit him with. Well, I can fail that spear throw. We'll try one more channeling, another 12 power points. See if we can get
Okay.
him this time.
Okay. Me.
I'll try to predict where he's going to go, right? And then.
Well, you're always trying to do that.
I
It's
know,
just,
but yeah. And
so, I mean, cat-like reflexes is an expression for a reason, you know.
actually, you know what? Never mind. Let me back up.
Yeah.
I have Nilani actually. I command her to kind of cause a little distraction. Maybe come up behind him, rake him on the back or something. Then I can
And
do a channeling attack. Yeah.
okay.
So
So use her as a distraction.
right.
Okay.
Better hit in.
Um, all right.
Predator versus predator.
Launches. You're tracking him. Roll for initiative.
94.
Nice. But he is still faster than you. Um,
Faster, smarter, and better looking.
that's right. He looks as though he is about to pounce. She takes off. He checks his motion. She dives. He does a half bound towards her and swats. You open fire with your channeling.
Mm-hmm. It's 12 power points in there.
12 power points. Roll it up.
8. Oh my god.
Jesus Christ.
Oy vey.
Yeah, just
Not my day, is it?
into the dirt. Erase another 12 exhaustion.
It's exhausting missing all the time.
I tell you, that's what I hear. That's what I hear. Next round. What are your intentions?
I'm running at this guy with a flail now. I can't.
So throwing your shield over your shoulder.
Right.
And what's your numbers for parry?
I really need to hit. So does less parry give a better chance of hitting, or is it?
So you have a total amount of skill,
Right.
and you are splitting that skill between parry and attack.
Okay.
So
right.
there's a total bonus that I know, right? That is your skill bonus, and of course
Right.
we've taken that.
But
right.
Just mechanically, right? When I take away from parry, is that me trying to hit him better, or is it me trying to hit harder, or is it both? Right.
It's both. In Rollmaster, it's both. Although there's some problems I've realized with that system. For instance, a giant would have an enormous attack bonus, except they're lousy at aiming.
Right.
Right. So
like
what
they are separate things. Yeah.
Right. So what I'm doing with them then is I'm reducing their attack bonus, but if they hit, I'm giving them 10 times damage.
Yeah.
And so that's how I've decided to resolve that. For creatures that are of medium size, you and this beast, trolls are sort of right on the edge there where you're like, oh, I don't know. I just move the numbers where I think they ought to be. For you, it is both.
Okay. So in that case, I'll go with 90 attack, 10 parry. Really trying to land a hit on this guy.
Okay. And what's the number? Your flail is
flail is definitely better.
Is really nice, right?
Yeah, plus 25 magic, and I'm only battling one opponent, so it should have no extra effects. It's the flail of fairness, though.
Plus 25.
Yep.
Wow, that is nice. All right.
Can't miss this time, everybody.
15. Hang on just a minute. Oh yeah, there you go. I already had you clipped. Nice. So he, yeah, he's going to close. All right, so let's roll for initiative first.
6 for initiative.
He only barely beat you.
Mm.
I think I'm going to have you guys, your attacks land simultaneously. This is really the big battle of, I mean, this is the charge. You're both just charging into each other. This is going to be really interesting.
Mhm.
Um, well, let's do his first. We'll ignore any penalties you get from the attack until, since your blows land simultaneously.
Right.
Um, 14. You'll probably take some spike damage too if you guys bump chests. Uh, right. All right. Oh man, what a lucky roll for you.
Ooh.
He rolled an 8.
Oh, fantastic.
Um,
The lion attacks you and rolls an 8.
so 8 damage, and I don't get to do these very often. Uh, an additional 4 damage, and you'll be stunned next turn.
Mm.
Swipe across the. I mean, it was coming right to your head. You just ducked your helmet into it. It just rattled your head a lot,
Yeah.
and you're a little wonky. And then you, sir, are going to hit him with a flail.
Very nice
Um,
fail.
roll it up.
In 90% attack, that's 42.
42. Now, would you believe it that with him charging, that's still a considerable hit?
Ooh.
Oh, flails are just so ugly. God, they hurt. Roll your crits.
That is an 86.
Oh,
Oh,
dear.
dear me. Now I'm feeling kind of bad.
You feel your fists dig into his rib cage.
Oof.
And the flail, though, of course, wraps around to his spine and slams into his spine.
Oh, man.
And it just sends him flying.
Huh.
And you're staggered back a little bit. He's staggered back. He's lying on the ground, mewing. You're dazed and staggered.
Ooh.
Um, so he is moving very, very oddly. Clearly, you have twisted his back. You can see the marks where the solids of the flail slammed into his spine. Um, Next round, roll initiative. You are stunned. So
4. So I was just so while stunned, I'm just planning to grab my shield off my back again.
okay.
Um, just back up a bit, reassess.
He backs into the woods off the road on the valley side, not the slope side. Um, do you want to follow him? He's backing in.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. If he's running off, Brise doesn't have a. Seems just kind of like a wild creature, right? He's probably gonna go nurse his wounds or die.
Right.
Definitely leave me alone.
We'll do a few more round by rounds, just so you can be certain of it.
Yeah.
Next round, he turns and bounds into the woods, although you hear him complain with each impact, right?
Mhm.
Um,
And I say, and stay lost.
that's right. Do you want Nalani to pursue just to
Yes,
observe?
actually, good idea. Yeah.
Um, Off she goes. Um, Loses him in the woods, but a good 100 yards in. Um, so
Whew. That was interesting. No, I forgot to ask when I hit him with the flail. Right? Did it? It was like flesh, or was it more like woody? Kind of.
It did feel very. It's very cool to the touch, like plant life.
Yeah.
Um, but it certainly had a firmness to it, like muscle and so on. But I mean, it clearly is some strange hybrid animal.
Right.
So you set Nalani probably on a perch just to watch the
Yes.
direction he was from.
I
I'm
will definitely
assuming you're looking to patch up and so on.
sit down. Yeah, rest, patch up for sure.
Um, Urban up. What are you doing?
Yeah. Let me see. Let's not use a healing potion yet. We will try. We'll eat 2 rook herbs.
That's the 2d10.
Yeah. I'm showing those.
That is 30 hit points healed.
All right.
You watch them slowly, seal up, and the marks disappear. That was really interesting. That was
I'm sorry, I forgot to even go to this screen. Wow, I got so into the battle. I was, we like ran right into it.
that was
There's
crazy. That was
artwork. Oh, beautiful artwork.
man. The importance of criticals in Rollmaster. They're just the new version of Rollmaster was released, by the way.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. So there's our nod to the new unified version. It's called the Unified Edition of Rollmaster is now available. Um, so,
I'll take a look at that. That's cool. Error socket not connected. Oh, jeez.
what did you say?
I had a temporary internet like outage. Said error socket not connected. I'm like,
Oh, socket not
guess
connected.
I'm
Right.
not.
That's right. You need a socket wrench. That's how they fix those things. That's the only reason they exist.
Well, that's a funny thing about every computing term, right? Every programming code thing is named after something else that already exists.
Yeah.
Socket, port, uh, wire, all that stuff
Right.
existed many years before
Right. You can create terms, but
who
why?
wants to do that? Yeah.
Right. It's like the famous "Who Wants to Be a Millionaire" question about the what term was what computing term arose when a moth flew into a mainframe?
Oh, right. A bug.
It was a bug. Um, you know,
Is that the
so
$1 million question, or is that
I
on?
think the $1 million question where the guy. I think that was the one where he used a lifeline. He called his father and he said, "Hey, Dad, I'm just calling you to tell you I'm about to win $1 million."
Yeah.
And then he answered the question.
Oh, wow, that's hilarious.
Yeah,
That's
so
great.
I'm sure you can find it on YouTube. It's a kind of
Yeah.
cool moment. And I think that was the question,
Yeah.
but so um, you know, um, there's no treasure, of course. You are feeling better. You gather your things. Everything seems to be okay. Um, um, there is a possibility that he came from a lair. I don't know if you're going to find anything at that lair.
Yeah. Let's,
Um,
I do want to make, I am kind of on a mission here, so we're just gonna probably keep going down the road.
okay. So
I'm interested in the creature. I'll have to do some, maybe look it up later, ask around.
right.
Yeah. So, cool.
Um, so the so oh, state of readiness now. Are you done with your healing and everything? You're content with your
Right.
healing?
Yeah. Yeah. No, we're good. We're still good on all levels. So I'll pick up my fallen spear, obviously, and
Yes.
yeah, spear and shield again. Kind
Okay.
of keep making way down the road.
So just so you know,
Three lions jump out like, oh
it is. One of them looks wounded and pissed.
man. His
Um,
friends are a lot tougher too.
exactly. So you realized he was a kitten, and now his parents are the size of barns.
Love
Um, so
that.
all right. So travel again. Tell me about what Nalani's doing. You're sending it out still periodically.
Right.
Um, and she spots a very curious glimmering movement in the woods. It is coming again from the slope. It is up ahead, about to cross in front of you. Let me adjust my seat. Sorry. Sliding down here on the couch. Um, and before she can really get a good look at it, it emerges on the road about 50 feet ahead of you.
Okay.
And it is a tall, dark humanoid figure with a short neck and a silver jackal head.
Whoa. Cool.
I mean, there's no, as Nalani sees it from here, there is no indication of movement. It is solid metal. There's no like articulation in the face or whatever.
Right.
Most disturbing is that one of its uh, arms is one of its hands is a metal cap instead of a hand with chains, three chains coming from it.
Ooh.
And those chains drag behind it, and there, shackled by the neck to each of the chains, is a goblin child.
Oh my goodness.
Three girls. They only have bottoms on. They're probably 7, 8, 9 years old.
Hmm.
Um, they're destitute, scratched. Um, the creature, well, wears sort of the Aladdin style pants, right? The sort of very ballooning, very very airy kind of pants.
Yeah.
They are purple. Um, its skin is dark. It is very muscular. There is a a sort of a short, sort of chopping like blade at its belt. It
Mhm.
has a pouch and a small bag at its back. It's um, it steps to the road. It hasn't seen you, but it turns its metal head and stares right at Nalani,
Oh man.
regards it for a long moment, and then turns back, and then pulls the children, gives them a tug, and continues to walk.
Hmm.
The children are about 5 feet behind it, um, and I don't think you would want to risk a arrow shot or anything
Uh-uh.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah, this is weird.
Now it is 10 minutes before break. I don't know if you want to take a break and then come back to this, or if you want to get
Yeah,
into
let's
the
do that, I think. Why don't we take a break? We'll decide what Brise would do. Do you want to be a hero or am I a little too beat up after that last encounter?
right. Well, guys, we're gonna hop and go stretch our legs and refill our drinks. Bear with us, and we'll get back and see what we're going to do about this strange jackal-headed creature that Brees has encountered. Bear with us. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Uh, we're grateful that you hung out with us. Now we've got our next little encounter on the road coming up. A silver-headed, jackal-headed figure, dark body, wearing these sort of very airy, baggy, sort of Aladdin-style pants. Has a heavy chopping-like blade at its belt, and it is one hand is merely a metal cap with three chains shackling three goblin children, all girls. Um, and Now it also looks at Nalani, which is Brise's familiar, young female falcon. Looked at her with those unblinking metal eyes. And now, I should turn this off. Forgive me. Um, so, Brees, Max, what are you gonna do?
So I have a question here. When I cast a spell like sleep, say, from my knowledge, right, no one knows if I'm hidden, right, and I cast it. No one knows it's like the direction it came from, right. I just select a target. Um,
Um, your knowledge of that is that in your training and your readings on it in the tome, which is a great thing about a tome, is it contains more than just a straight spell knowledge. Those who are very sensitive, if the spell fails, some who are very sensitive will know who cast it or what direction it came from. Generally speaking, no, they won't know.
right.
If it, even when it fails, they won't know.
Okay. Okay. That is interesting. So that leads into my next move, which is what I want to do is stay hidden and try casting sleep on this figure here. Now, if that doesn't work, I am not going to do anything else. I'm just going to try to hide and let this thing go on its way because I don't.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if I have the ability to deal with this thing, especially after that last fight. And I don't know. I'm worried about these children, but at the same time, I'm like, what am I going to do? Like them out here in the wilderness anyway.
Well, you're headed to a town.
Oh, that's true. I could just take it with me to the town. Well, that's what I would do if I'm free them. So my plan is like try to put it to sleep and maybe like teleport with them, to somewhere, out of view. Um, Try to get them out of the chains.
Roll for me.
52.
So, if it intended if it wanted to kill these children, it would have already killed the children.
Right.
So, the children are of some value for some purpose right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you do confront it with violence, um, I mean, if it puts the children between you and it, well, I guess that's your answer.
Yeah, true, but it might try to protect them if I were to attack it. You mean? Hmm.
Yes, if you're to confront it somehow, you can at least learn what it's going to do with the kids. If it flees, and you can make another decision there, and up to and including, of course, just having Nalani follow them, and you just sneak behind.
Yeah.
Um, Although he does seem sensitive to Nalani, but
Right.
um, that may force him to do something else. Um,
Yeah. Well, I do want to try the sleep anyway. Then we'll see if there's any kind of susceptibility to magic. We'll still learn something from that.
what's your range there on sleep?
Yeah. So actually, that's probably the first thing I should have looked at here. Sleep from Way of the Spirit. 50 foot plus 10 feet a level, which should
Okay,
be 150 feet. So
well
I'll go ahead.
within range.
Yeah, hide in the brush on the side of the road and try to cast it on our strange creature here. Now, hope the other thing is hopefully he'll falls asleep standing up. Doesn't like topple to the ground. Well, that's not gonna help.
The his flail his it is sort of a flail hand, but his chain hand, unfortunately, it just turns into a blender and just kills the children. That's just what it does. So
It's
your
a
level,
what is it in Doctor Who? The sonic screwdriver.
the sonic screwdriver. That's right. All right, how many power points are you putting into this?
Yeah, let's put in, let's put in 10 extra power points.
That makes it what level?
So it would be 7, so now it'll be 17.
Okay. All right. Roll it up.
48.
That is a perfectly okay roll.
Thanks.
And he is going to attempt to resist said spell. He is staggered. It's sort of like the effect it had on that fiery earthworm from way
Right.
back.
Right.
It doesn't have its typical effect on him, but he is considerably discombobulated and is almost drunk and begins staggering.
Okay.
He does turn down your side of the road, like he looks down your side of the road. He
Yeah.
seems to have some sensitivity to magical links and connections.
Right.
He studies, but he is just, I mean, it really is like you've inebriated him.
Right.
It's not really a
Well,
verb.
that would be a good time now to confront him, maybe, and try to see what he's going to do.
All right, what's in your hands as you come
I'll
out of the
definitely
brush?
have my spear and shield in hand, and come out and announce myself and ask, "What do you plan to do with those children?"
I don't think you really care, right? You want
Well,
him to release the children.
release the children. Yeah, you'll release those children now, or else you'll have my spear to answer to.
Um, he draws his sword and um, the the chain drops off his nub
Oh wow!
and then falls, and it grows an anchor into the ground.
Oh my gosh! Well, he did release them.
He lifts his metal head and he howls. And four flames appear, forming a square along the road. And he staggers toward the flame and stands between one side of the flame and waits for you. And he's,
So 4 flames, like single flames arranged like points of the square.
yeah,
Okay.
the verses of a square, the corners of a square. And it has the distinct feeling, given where he's standing, of a bout, right? Like a bout ring.
Yeah. Huh. That's clearly not fun for conversation. I'll go up to one. So he's standing between
Two of
me.
them.
Yeah.
He's standing between two. They formed only about 20. So I guess they're right in the middle of you, of the distance between you, and he just closed that distance and stood on his side of the ring, if you will.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. it's hard to know whether this thing is even sentient or not. I'll 'cause again, Reese isn't always the first one to use violence, right? I'll try to if I can barter with him, maybe it's like I'll release those children, peacefully. Maybe there's um,
How much do you want for them?
right. How much are they worth to you?
He considers you. He holds, he's drawn his sword, but he puts sort of his nub and his fist, holding the sword together. An image appears in over the ring, and there is a considerable stack of gold there.
Hmm. Image above fire. Okay. So it's I could pay him, but he's not gonna tell me then anywhere where he's taken them to. Right. I guess I could track him with Milani then for that. So okay. Well, I guess how much gold does it look like? Right. A mithril, 100 pieces.
Your guess is a couple of hundred gold.
Couple hundred. Okay. Well, money really isn't too important to me. So if it's two mithril to save, three people's lives, I think that's definitely worth it. So I'll hold out two mithril and from pull it out from my pouch and show it to him. Like this should be enough.
Well, keep in mind you're pretty far. I mean, you may have to
Okay.
hold it up, or
So
you're gonna have to approach.
I will approach holding up two pieces, right, and say this is 200 gold pieces worth.
He gestures beneath the image as though to place the coins there.
Oh, okay. I meant like down.
And then he grabs his crotch. Fight me, he says.
You wrote in my notes somehow. Okay. Then I'll go down there and place the goal. I mean, place the mithril. Right. Seems to be going along with it. My like gamer brain is like, two mithril, just fight him.
It's tough, right? It's tough.
I don't know. This guy's pretty tough.
It shows you, like, it really does show you in some ways, just like how narrow the options in gaming always are.
Yeah.
Like we've been so conditioned by the same response over and over again.
Yeah.
And I get it to some extent. I mean, the thing is, tabletop versus any sort of video gaming is that all the options in video gaming take time to program ahead of time. Tabletop has no limitations. And so, I mean, it really is. Maybe that's another article I should write.
Yeah.
So you set them down, and I'm just trying to walk you through a little social sort of consideration whenever you do these things. Make sure you always back up.
Right.
Right. I mean, just be clear to me what you're doing. Right. So set him down, and then you give him how much space?
I give him 10 feet, back up 10 feet.
About half bow range, Kevin.
How far can I throw a bola again?
Exactly.
But, still spear and shield in hand.
He watches you passively, impassively, obviously, as metal is. Mm-hmm. He approaches.
Can I just also, as I got closer, right, did I notice any detail in the mask, or was it just solid?
It's very well designed. Roll for me. Let's see your perception roll here.
12.
Um, yeah, it just seems to be one solid mask.
Yeah.
The pants you can say seem to be a very fine material. I mean, you're like, it seems luxuriant.
Right.
He does wear sandals. He has clawed feet that do not look particularly dog-like. They have sort of these weird thumb-like appendages that go to the sides of the toes that grip the
Yeah.
sandal. So, um, um, you're but clearly another fascinating denizen of this region or passer through, um, and he takes the coins, he backs up, he puts his hands together and bows. The flames extinguish in
Mm.
the bout ring. He turns his back to you and walks to the children. His posture is much more relaxed. He kneels and connects his metal cap, that is the stub of his arm, right?
Yeah.
And he touches this newborn anchor that anchored into the ground. It transforms back into chain, and you can hear it connect. It the shackles around their necks fall to sand. The chains retract back until they're just about flail length on that hand, and um, he seems to speak to the children, but there is a sound. It's low, but you can't really make out what it is. Um, he gestures to you. The children run toward you. Um, and they cling to you just desperately. These little goblin children with their little pop bellies.
Gonna say, and then you realize they're the real enemy. You're like, oh no,
That's right.
they're
Damn
all
it.
dragons.
Children are the worst. I was watching a comedian. I've been watching tons of comedians lately. And there was one who's like, "What are you talking about?" Oh, it's Chris Rock's bit. He did a remake of Tambourine, his latest comedy special, and he's talking about you can't, children don't grow up hating. Okay, you have to teach hate. You have to teach bad behavior. He's like, my 2-year-old girl bit someone. Do you think I taught them to bite someone? You know, he goes,
They do have a mean streak in them. It's kind of like you have to teach them to hate, but you also have to teach them to be civil, and be kind. Like
exactly.
they're both
But you think I taught them to bite
good.
people? Um, so,
Got these children clinging to me now. Not gonna.
yes,
I'll definitely
he,
keep my spear in hand, but I'll definitely relax it. I'm not attack
yeah,
this.
he turns and raises a fist to you, and then turns back the way he came and goes back. Roll for me.
99,
Roll again and add it.
44.
Shit, you think? Is he going to hunt more children?
Right. That was what I thought. He's going back. Um, I will. I mean, I'll just try to, ask him. It's like, where are you? Are you? I'll ask that. Are you going to hunt more innocent children then?
He stops. I'm surprised. I really thought he would be on his way. He turns, walks again to the road, and again does this, fist to fist thing. And an image appears of his people
Okay.
and a giant slave market of children.
Wow.
Elves, humans, orcs, dwarves, goblins, gray elves, dark elves. There are dark skinned children that remind you of the people you encountered ages ago in the vetch.
Yes. Yeah, I do recall that. Yeah.
They hunt across the continent. On the other side of the the slave market are portals with people coming and going,
Oh my goodness.
people exiting, I'm sorry, entering, have no children, and the people entering the portals have one or more children in chains.
Wow.
The people exiting,
So it's like a moving image then.
yes,
Video. Wow. Jeez.
there are the people exiting are unlike any other being you've seen. His people seem to be purely procurement. The
Mm.
beings coming and going, they're dressed in various um, gowns, usually um, they're usually dark gowns trimmed in purple or silver. They are probably 8 feet high. They have humanoid faces that are very long. Um, their eyes are narrow, but I mean, why the long face? I mean, it's that kind of ridiculous. It's very stretched. Their noses are almost a foot in length.
Oh my gosh.
They're very dour faces, always with a frown. They're pale and gray skinned.
Easter Island heads.
Sort of,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh my god.
Um, and
They seem to be the customer. Yeah.
I'm sorry?
They seem to be the customers, those.
Yes. There is a river you can see beyond the portals. There you go.
Does it um oh, excuse me, does it seem like another world? Like, I mean, do I get a glimpse of the sky or like anything that would seem like it's
Roll
not
for me.
this plane of existence, 34?
It it may very well be. It is certainly a distant land, unlike anything you've heard of. Um, what few plants there are in this sort of urban environment are very strange looking.
Yeah.
There's sort of ornamental plants that are all about chest high, but they have these big, thick, fleshy red leaves, almost bulbous leaves that hang down. You're like, I've never seen anything like that. There's also a weird twilight to the place with no real sense of where the sun is.
Yeah.
The river behind them, um, that's too urbanized really to tell. It's clearly a city. It must be on the edge of it because you can see just immediately to the right of the slave market. You know, you begin to see brush and things like that. The
Mhm.
cobbles stop, and you just sort of get the beginnings of some grasslands and things like that.
Yeah.
Um, so
Ooh, this is a bigger problem than I thought. I thought maybe I'm like take this guy down, stop what he's doing, but I don't know. Yeah, next. I mean, he seems willing to talk or at least show images, right? Ask him, have your people always lived that way? Um,
I'm not sure what you're going to. I mean, let's say he says yes.
Right. Yeah. I mean, what's a question that would give me like more information about this trade that's been going on?
Yeah.
It's such a big thing, right? Where do you even start?
What
Um,
do you really need to know if you're thinking of intervening? Um,
um,
where do you enter our lands?
yeah, yeah. So that's a good place to start, right? Yeah. So where can I find where's an entrance to that place? One of the portals.
He touches his appendages together, and there is um, a fiery X goes across the image of the slave market.
Oh, no good. I forgot. Does he have? So it's one nub hand and then an actual other hand, or
Yes.
okay,
Well, it's now a flail hand, right? It's a
right,
cat.
right. Well, yeah. Um, I wonder if I could try to persuade him. Right.
That's true. He's clearly profit motivated,
Yeah.
at least about some things. I mean, he's not willing to give up the location of the slave market, or he's saying you're not allowed.
Yeah. We
He
don't know.
doesn't. So whether that's a matter of honor or a matter of I'm not getting in trouble,
Yeah. Um,
what would it take for you to take me there?
yeah. Yeah. What would it take for you to show me and take me there? See, now I'm kind of scared. I don't know if I want to go. I'm gonna get caught up in this slave market. As next 10 episodes of Karandrin are going to be Princess Leia, right? Like just me chained up.
You mean dying of cardiac arrest on a plane?
Yes, exactly. Well, that'd be the 11th episode. But
My bad. Yeah, that's. Um,
sexy, sexy slave.
the image changes to, I mean, just a torrent of gold and gems.
Hmm. No, now I'm. Yeah, I'm curious. What is he going to do with this money? Like, I don't know. I hmm. I mean, I could just, I see how he reacts. But like, it's, I say, I can get you that. Well, he obviously understands me. I say, all right, you show me where it is, and I'll give you a, handsome payment. I He's gonna ask for proof, right? I'm gonna see if I can pull out a magic item, try to fool him. I'll pull out the Mekra's egg, right? Um,
You do have an item of fabulous value.
I do have the crossbow, right? But see, I'm thinking like, I wonder if his. Actually, no, I don't have the crossbow. I left that at Mia keep.
Sure. But I mean, you know what I mean? You have it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. But I'll start with this, right? See what he thinks of this. How does this look? You know, for the low price of showing me where your homeworld is. This amazing artifact.
He returns to the road. He touches his hands together, shows an image of you putting down your disarming, basically, and approaching with the egg.
Okay. I'll keep my bola and fillet at the belt, but I will take off or I will put my spear and shield on the ground, and have the egg in both hands and walk over to him.
The children grab onto you. Don't leave us. Don't leave us. Begging you.
This is. I say I'll be back in a moment. Don't worry. Kind of pry him off me. This is more important.
They are not letting you go. They are you're dragging their feet. Literally.
Yeah.
He makes this coughing noise, and they turn to him, and then they look at each other, and they kind of let you go very warily. And one yells back at him, "How can we know we can trust you?" He makes again this sort of strange coughing noise, which must be sort of the low sound you heard.
Yeah. Interesting. If it's a slave trade of all children, are children the only people that understand him or something?
And he coughs again. He takes off his sword and he throws it to the side of the road and coughs again in this sort of series of kind of like, it's sort of metallic sounding, but and they gradually let go of you and they cling to each other and kind of move to the side of the road, right, so they can run. Why don't you take off your cloak and give it to them to huddle?
Yeah. I'll take out some food as well from my take out a meal. Because if it's a kid, right, just their children, just one. I'll take out 2 pieces of whey bread. Should be good.
Yeah. They eat at it hungrily. Tell them, I'll be back.
Mhm.
You approach. His, his body language is that of tension and ready to act. But he does, he is disarmed, and you approach with the egg.
Mhm.
Holy shit! He considers it. And he he pockets it, and then he steps back so there's room between you, and he puts his hands together. I rolled a 160,
One
and
really likes eggs.
the price of eggs today? You kidding me? Of course he does. The image forms. The portals are identical to the portals that you saw in the slave market.
Yeah.
That is, they have a very bright golden rim.
Hmm.
Like you could read by it, no problem. They're almost fiery.
Yeah.
Like you would. you're very hesitant to touch them. They look like they would be painful. Um, and there in on a mountain slope, there are two of his people. They're standing with their arms crossed at the entrance. There's a small camp there on a flat part of the slope. Um, it's an encampment, and they watch the portal.
Oh my gosh.
Um, and he points the way he was going. Roll for me.
29. Is he meaning to say like there's this encampment further ahead, like the way he was going?
Yes,
Okay.
no doubt that he gestures. He takes one of the chains. I wish I could do this myself. I don't have a way of doing it. But essentially, he takes one of the chains and he holds it up, and it forms a peak like a mountain.
Huh.
And then he points the way he was going,
Yeah.
and you can see he's pointing to a mountain. You look at that mountain. He turns you back with his nub,
Yeah.
and then he goes over. He gestures over, and
The
then
next.
does another mountain.
Hmm.
So it's a valley to the west.
It's like a bad dream, but jeez, slave market with thousands of children and alien beings, mountain to the west. Oh jeez. Oh jeez. We can't do that anymore. Justin Roiland's in trouble.
You can't.
Oh jeez, Rick. Okay.
That's right. That's right.
Such an iconic voice. Um,
Of of unlawful imprisonment.
exactly. Um, alley to the west, past this mountain.
Um, Another image appears as he touches his hands, and there is the distinct image of another mountain. Um, it's fairly distinct looking.
Okay.
It's got a a very bold cliff and escarpment right in the front center. I mean, it's almost like a bosom to the mountain,
Hmm.
and it drops off. Um, so not impossible to find.
Yeah. Definitely can ask around town, for that mountain, how it's described. Excuse me. Hmm. Try to find a road to it.
Yeah, because making your way across the mountains without knowing where the passes are,
Yeah.
that's a recipe for weeks of fun right there.
Mm-hmm. Don't want to end
No,
up like a Donner Party, do we?
right, right. Hey, you've got 3 meals though coming with you, so that's great.
Well, one and a half, really. Pretty big. There's an Alani too. Okay, so he shows me the mountain. And I mean, he was just kind of walking through the wilderness. Yeah. So, um,
I mean, they're clearly skilled in. I mean, they're clearly skilled in like sort of survival and like
right.
tracking, and
Navigation. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, they are really, they're rangers of a different sort, and certainly with a different agenda. So um,
Okay.
he,
Um, I will ask, if I were to visit, right, how would I be guaranteed safe passage, right? Can you guarantee me
Sort of
safe?
what response would I get if I
Yeah,
visited?
yeah,
Are you saying visiting the camp or um, visiting the slave market?
the camp. Um,
And an image of you just handing over a few coins,
okay.
and then it shows you walking through the portal.
Okay. This is sounds like a new journey I might be able to pursue at some point in the future. I'll definitely ask the children all about this as well. It'll probably be easier time asking them about it than this guy. Um, okay. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else I want to ask him. Again, I would just probably try to find this mountain myself. Um, Search around it for. I guess I would more specifically where on the mountain, right? Because he showed me an image of the mountain, right?
Yes.
I could ask him like specifically where on the mountain, right, is this entrance? Um, can you do a little bit of a camera zoom for me?
The image reappears of the mountain, and it does rotate.
Mm,
Um, so it's on the opposite side of that valley, away from the that enormous escarpment and that enormous drop off of.
right.
Um, it overlooks another valley. You can see that there's a couple of smudges of smoke in that valley, probably some small villages.
Mhm.
Um, um, and he shows you he just sort of points into the image itself and shows you that it's about the lower third of the mountain is where their camp is.
Okay. Lower thing. Interesting. Okay. Well, I think that's all I really wanted to ask of this guy. I'm kind of, um, yeah. I will probably just give him, my leave, saying, thank you, and um,
Never come back, but
soon? Question mark.
right.
It's weird. Yeah. I again, like, not to impose my morals on this guy, right? But the beast boy feels pretty upset at what these creatures are doing, right? So
Yeah.
stiff nod, like, okay, well, be on your way then.
He simply turns and goes.
Yeah. They almost remind me of like constructs a little bit. Like if they constructs could communicate. Yeah, not a lot of emotion or anything.
Roll for me.
98.
Roll again and add it.
Crazy roll 5.
And still.
Yeah.
So clearly, he either volunteered for that modification, that very specific modification to his hand, or he was forced into it.
Hmm.
I mean, that's a slaver's dream. Be a
Oh, right. Yeah, I didn't
weapon.
even think about it. The others did have 2 arms, right?
Yes. There were some in the image that did have. You could see some sort of chain implement attached to their limbs.
Right.
Some had other modifications on a limb, but
Hmm.
you were too far back. I mean, these figures were half an inch high, crawling around this market from this bird's eye view, and uh, so uh, you wonder if it's something like, once they lose a hand, they think, well, fine, I'll just go ahead and make this modification.
Yeah.
The whole head thing, that's bizarre,
Yeah.
and it's hard to imagine a culture reproducing that's part mechanical and part. I mean, it's very strange. I mean, the
Right.
hand aside, he's got a head that is apparently just solid metal, maybe hollow, but um, so. Um, so off into the woods he disappears. Um, what do you want to do?
Come back to these children, and you know, so it's been. How far do I think I am from Dorgo? Right, I know it's about a day. So
You're
actually,
not.
I'll just ask them. I'm trying to get to Dorgo. I will gladly take you there. It shouldn't be too far from here up the road, I think.
Roll for me. Ooh.
64.
You think you're about halfway there.
Okay.
Um,
Living on a
so,
prayer.
do you want to ask them questions? I mean, obviously, you need to look them over.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. We'll just make sure they're okay and give them water and
Yeah, they drink
injuries.
hungrily, and yeah, you check them, and you do find dried blood on them, and you ask about it, and you wipe it off. It's not their blood. It's definitely goblin blood. Um, they tell you that they are brothers and sisters.
Mm.
Um, this being walked into their house yard and didn't speak and killed both their parents. And then those chains just extended and seized them all, and and um, began their march. They've been walking for about 2 days,
Wow, jeez.
um, and he does the creature would stop to rest and would he would sleep just crossing his legs, sitting up.
Hmm.
Um, he would chain them to a tree in that strange way that you saw him chain them to the ground. Anchor. This anchor would form, um, and um, they said that their shoes were destroyed over the terrain. Their tops have been torn.
Yeah.
Um, and so I don't know if you brought extra changes of clothes.
Yeah, I'll give them. I got some shirts, and might be a little big for them, but
It'll be a
definitely.
dress, basically.
Yeah, shirts and some boots. Let me
Now,
see.
boots won't do any good for them because it'll just, I mean,
So they'll fall off. Yeah.
right. And of course, as you know, as a hiker, I mean, if those boots aren't tight, then it's just going to be blisters.
Of course. Yeah.
So you
Um,
may have to take turns carrying them
right.
just to spare their feet, which are in terrible shape.
Yeah.
You could, if you have a extra pair of pants or something, you could do bound shoes.
Yeah. Let's do that. I have a couple pairs of pants. I'll try to.
So one pair of pants, you should be able to take care of them all. So just destroy a pair, just erase a pair of pants, and um,
Man, where do you take kids in medieval times? I remember, right? Like, what would be Brise's idea? Like, if I get to Dorgo, right, just give them some money and see if they can survive on their own. Or I
I
don't know. I
mean,
guess it's up to her how how Brise feels about children and how much they care they need.
I mean, you certainly have grown to appreciate the poor, more so in your travels. You had that encounter with the fortune teller. You had that encounter with the hungry outside of that eccentric elf's
Yeah,
manor, where they were.
picking the fruit. Yeah,
Yeah, he just lets them. He just deliberately grows fruit along that lane to
right,
let them just eat their fill.
right,
Sort of this sort of lazy gesture of kindness.
right.
Um, um,
I know a great orchard. You guys can. I'll take you there. Just
that's
start
right.
bringing more and more people to his orchard.
That's that's right. And so but yeah, your thought is to take him to the constable, and or to a temple, and offer up some gold for their care.
Right.
You know,
Yeah. You know, I do. I am a strong patron of the temple, so I think that's what I'll do. I'll go to Dorgal and we'll try to, you know, have a temple take care of them, or at least find them, a better place. So
right.
okay.
You could feel free to raise them as your slaves.
Well,
Fine.
I was reading through my notes and I saw, Reese desires a family with maybe 3 kids. I'm like, well, there you go. Look, I've got
This is a roadside adoption.
options.
That's right. I had a dream that a silver headed dog like humanoid would bring us our children. It's better than a stork, you know? Yeah. Oh, and as always, of course, 1,000 Karandrin points if you get Coke to sponsor us. I do love
We're already
Coke.
sponsoring them without even trying.
I know, without them even asking. I have sponsored them for years. So, so,
Yeah, so I'll just ask him, stay close, and try to, we'll make sure to rest if we need, but we'll try to make it to Dorgal, you know,
and if you come across trouble, if we come across trouble, what should they do?
they should hide in the woods, I say, just get off the road and get out of view. I'll deal with it.
So they seem very obedient and very grateful. Um, so um, you are on the road again, and evening begins to fall. You feel like you should be close.
Okay.
You begin
Yeah,
traveling. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
use Bonnie to see if she can see ahead,
Yeah, she's scouting periodically and landing. A few minutes later, you send her up again, meeting no one on the road. Still very empty. You come across the T intersection. That road you've been told will lead if you go west on it, well, southwest on it, you'll come to Pleston, the city of the White Shield. How far? A city of the White Lady and the city of the White Shield. But you will, but that will be some day's travel.
right.
And so you turn eastward, northeast on the road, and early nightfall, you come to the walled town of Dorgal. The gates are closed as you approach. You're challenged. Um,
Card game.
they tell you after the gates are closed, it's a bronze to get in, or you can sleep outside.
That's fine. I will gladly pay it. Walk in with my cargo, my children.
That's right. So, if you want to stop there, you and I could do shopping some other time off.
Uh,
But
yeah,
what's
why don't we try to bring them to the temple? Like, just
okay?
ask
Sure.
the guard, like, it's the closest temple we can.
He points to a building you can see over the roofs.
Mhm.
It is predominantly, this one is dedicated. Um, Oh, this one is dedicated to Valbrung, who is a goblin, one of the
No,
goblin depicted goddesses. What now?
I don't like Valrun. Let's go to the next.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry, to interrupt you. Can you explain who he is?
So Valbrung is goddess of the moon, healers, and poison. The moon is often called Val's bowl. The idea is that is her the bowl where she mixes her both her potions and her poisons. She is the belief is so that is your god's sister. That is
Oh,
Oxyr's sister. And the idea is that Oxyr was responsible for the goblin pox,
um,
and that he stole it from her poison collection.
wow.
So that is the story of it. Um,
It's fun how like they've created mythology to explain, yeah, like what current events. Yeah,
right, and you see that in history. In fact, I don't know if you know. I've lost the dang it. What was it called? The Empire of dang. Well, El Dorado is a great example.
yeah.
But there was another one that's actually connected to El Dorado, preceded El Dorado. Almost had it. Dang it. But it was this myth of a Christian nation that arose. The myth arose because of the rise of Islam.
Oh, interesting.
And so the idea is there's a mythical Christian nation out there that will come to our rescue should the Muslims continue to dominate trade routes and things like that.
Yeah,
Um, Prester
weird.
John, the Empire of Prester John, I think is what it is. I think that's it. And
That's
maybe I'm getting that.
yeah, yeah. It's so
So,
hard to imagine nowadays because like what's happening on the other side of the world. Like you just look at it on your phone.
right.
Like back
But
then it didn't. It's like what is
but essentially the mythology still arise. They're now just in the form of conspiracy theories.
right? Yeah, it's very true. Yeah,
It's very
and they're
similar.
not tied to. They're not always tied to existing religious figures, right? It's like these are
Right.
the accepted gods. These are what they're doing. It's like
Right. They're not. Yeah, they're not religiously. Yeah, they're not. They're not part of a pantheon and things like that. Right.
but no, yeah, it's the same. These are the powers that be, and this must be what they're doing to explain,
Right.
observe. Yeah. Hmm.
You find the temple very easily, and they take them very welcomes easily, eagerly.
Oh,
How much do you want to give for each kid's care starting off?
I mean, I'll give at least 10 gold for each kid.
Oh, that's plenty. That's
Yeah,
plenty.
I want to ensure they are cared for. So,
So, all righty.
expensive session. 2 mithril and 30 gold, and a few bronze.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
all right then. So we will get some shopping done off stream at some point and skip that part of it, and hopefully be back with Gabbers before our next stream, which will be next Thursday.
right.
So yes, the 23rd. So do tune in for that. And we hope you enjoyed what we put on for you tonight. But episode 82, like we said, next week on the 23rd, and we'll see what Brise gets up to then. And you've got a temple here. I guess you probably have some questions for them
Yeah,
regarding what you just learned.
absolutely.
So. So, all right, gang. We appreciate you. You want to put up our goodbye
Yeah,
screen?
sure.
And I will hide our pretty faces. So thanks, guys, for hanging out with us. If you think we're doing a good job, hop the donor box and send us some little love. If you want to see more of Max, and I would recommend that, then go to his YouTube channel. You'll see the short link right there where he discusses the role of music and original soundtracks in video games. Thanks as always to Elliot Dunovitz for their terrific character art that we use every stream for Brise. You can find more of their work at artstation.com/Tortalua. And I've written a novel that I'm pretty proud of called A Shore Too Far. Hop over there and take a look and see if you like it. And we will see you guys next time. Max, say goodbye to the lovely people.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the session. I certainly did. And yeah, come back next week to see what happens next.
That's
Brise
right.
tale.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you next week. The